Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to episode 54. We're going to continue our Final Fantasy X kind of playthrough, walkthrough thing here, and well, let's get to it. So we left off at Guadalsalami. We talked about kind of how you can backtrack now, and do different things. We did not talk about that earlier after you were able to do it the first time at Doze. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about it now, with just some things. There's like some new dialogues, I believe, based on the events. So, that might be maybe one reason why you want to go back. I mean, it seems like a lot of work just to get a couple, little small dialogue options. But
Long journey back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe people are talking about the proposal and stuff at this point.
Mhm.
Don't hold me to that. But the other reason why you want to go back, well, maybe some Blitzball players, right? We are going to go ahead and talk about Blitzball. Hopefully you all aren't hating on us about Blitzball at this point in time. But after this, well, there's not going to be very much to talk about for a long time. So without further ado, man, Kilika Beast. So you can make it all the way back to Kilika. If you have the remastered version, this is actually very quick and easy. All you got to do is turn on no encounters, 4x speed, and you'll be surprised how long, you'll be there in like a couple minutes. It's not that bad.
Honestly, like back in the day when you didn't have that, this was
Oh my
crazy to try
gosh.
and do. You'd be using
Oh my
fleece so
gosh.
many times.
You,
So, yeah.
you'd probably be crazy at the end of this for so many battles. I
Oh,
mean, that would be insane. And I don't think I
it's
ever did actually
uh,
do that either. So,
I honestly, back in the day, I think I did it one time for the steals, just out of curiosity too. It was one of those things where it had the original Final Fantasy X
sure.
on PS2. Yeah, and the sad thing too is like every time you go back on the ships, like the SS Winnow, it shows you, like your progress and you're still
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going
It's
backwards
like
now.
you're
It's
going
like, what are you guys
backwards. Oren's cool with it. He's like, continue the pilgrimage. Well, it's
Yeah,
all right if we go back though.
yeah, they don't say anything.
Yes. So the Kilika Beasts are obviously one of the Blitzball teams. Overall, they're not very good in the early stages. Their stats
Mhm.
overall, for the most part, are on the lower-ish side. Some of them might be okay, but might be kind of just relative to some other players. Some of them are really, really good at 99, and as a team, I don't know, man. Like if the teams were just, we're just imagining the team stayed exactly how they are at level 99. I'd say they're probably the best team.
Yeah, pretty much actually. They're like the late bloomer team. It's really interesting because up until about level 50 or so, they're terrible. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I mean, relatively speaking, like some of them start at fairly high levels, like Kulukin starts at level 7.
yeah.
One of my favorites, Roja at center, he's really, really good at level 99. But the other weird thing about them is, honestly, it's kind of overpowered at that point because when your stat is already 99, what's the point of like Venom Pass 3, for example, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Yeah, and that's what we've kind of talked about with Shoot, I believe, is, you
yeah.
don't necessarily always need maxed out stats because abilities will help you get there. While 99 Shoot sounds great, it's kind of like, well, it is, but you could have like, 80s and still get 99 Shoot with abilities. So,
Right. And if you trade that in for other stats, right? Like if there's another player with say 87 shoot but higher attack, I think
yeah,
that's worth it
yep.
because they're going to get up to 99 anyways with whatever shoot you use.
Yep, and one of those players is Larbate. So he is not very good. He's a forward, not very good to about 50-ish, as Alex said. The only stat that kind of actually like remains on par and that is decent throughout leveling is his endurance. It's about normal. It's high up there. But after 50, oh man, dude, it starts like things just start going nuts. Shoot starts increasing by like 10 and 12 every 10 levels, just big chunks, boom, 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 and then it ends
Yeah.
at 96. So he is one of those that has almost maxed shoot. His endurance is at 87 also, which that, in my opinion, is much more important for a forward than shoot is being maxed, right? So that's great.
Mhm.
But then just the thing about him, man, that probably makes him, I think, one of the most competitive forwards is he has 50 attack at max. That's insane, dude. That's the same what Jasu has. He's a forward, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of nuts because think about it. Some of the defenders, while they might be great defenders, they don't always have the highest endurance. So you might be able to
Mhm.
steal the ball or get it with the defender, and here comes Larbait, and it just like mows you over, no problem, by himself.
Yeah, it is pretty good. I mean, honestly, 50 attack is really solid, like you said. I mean, it's almost defender status, really. And then you've got Iskin. Iskin's kind of interesting because I've always debated, like, I remember back in the day when I had the guide, I was looking for the ultimate team, right? I was trying to
Sure.
compose like the best team at level 99. And I was like, yeah, Larbite's the one to have. Iskin, he gets 99 endurance and 81 shoot, which is pretty crazy. I just could never justify it. It's like, yeah, 99 endurance. I mean, how often is that even really going to be, critical to
Yeah,
have?
because you do have to also think. Let me put it this way: if two defenders come at you, each of them have around 50 attack. You got to throw some skills in there. It's gonna be way over 99 anyways. So generally, you're probably only gonna ever be able to break through one player at that point. Even with 99 endurance. But kind of what we just talked about, he does have 99 endurance though, and 81 shoot. Not bad. Like it will definitely be great. The other thing that with these two forwards is they both have 9,999 HP. It's kind of ooh whatever, but hey, we'll tote it. We'll give it to him, man. Not all players have max HP, so we'll call it out. Thing with Iskin though is all of his other stats are kind of crap. He has 33 attack, which that's about normal for forwards. But it's same with Larbait as well. Pass is bad, block is bad. Which you don't
Mhm.
always need in forwards. So these are kind of like purist forward guys, or what they are. Moving on to Vroja, man, you gave him a shout out. I love him too. I mean, he is
Yeah.
great. Their center is a very interesting position because it really does come down to on how you want to play. Are you looking
Yeah.
for maybe a third forward, but you want some shoot? Are you wanting more kind of support with attack and block, or do you just want someone who can just remain and always pass and stuff? And so you kind of figure that out. But he's kind of like the others, not really that bad early on, but he's not great. It's probably on a little bit lower end of other centers, but at max, it starts to kick up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's pretty good. Like 75 endurance at level 99. That's extremely good. Attack 54 is not great. I mean, like for, for comparison, we were just talking about the forward. Larbite has
Yeah,
50 attack, so
yeah,
only 4 higher than that. So 54 is okay. Past 99, again, I mean, it's funny. It's like or at least almost every one of the players has one stat that they're like a specialist in that gets
yeah,
up to 99. I wouldn't mind if he had like 90 pass and 60 attack, for example, or
yeah.
something like that. But
Trade
anyways,
out some of the points into other
yeah,
stats.
trade it out. 65 block, that's really good. And then of course the quad 9 HP.
So a third player with max HP. Overall, I mean, 54 attack, 65 block, like that's pretty good. Of course, the pass, if we're just looking at the center position, pass is generally the most important. It's pretty funny because you can generally pass against across the whole entire field with like 20. So I mean, this high
Yeah.
stats are really not just so you can pass across. It's mainly just if you're engaged in a player, you can pass through their block or something like that. Kulukin, I guess, is how we do
And
like
yeah, I
this
don't
one.
know.
She is very interesting because, as you said, starts at level 7. That's insane. Like that's the highest. No one else starts that high, and so I don't know why they did that, but whatever, cool. She is actually a solid defender. She's one of the few players on this team. Like, if you wanted to get right away, I would highly recommend it, just because the stats start strong and then they end strong. So as far as the defender stats go, attack is 64, block is 64 as well. It's great.
Hmm.
Some players do, some defenders have some higher block, some have a little bit higher attack, but hers, I kind of like that evenness among it. The only thing though is, we're pulling out Bada status here with endurance, dude. 36. That is, oof, that's pretty bad.
I was gonna say, I think the attack at 64 is one of the highest in the game. I'll have to look into that, but I'm pretty sure when I was looking at players, Kulukin is always one of those ones that I was considering as like one of the best defenders in the game
Yeah.
just because of that attack and block. But yeah, like you said, I really, really hate. I mean, when I'm building an ultimate team, I kind of want everybody to be able to at least be really good at everything,
Yes.
barring like catch or something like that. So yeah, endurance 36 is just. It's
Yeah,
just a
and
liability.
you're not gonna be charging down the field with her, but it kind of goes back to, well, imagine Iskin right there. Iskin would take her out easily, right? And that's a forward. So it's like, you might be able to get the ball from Iskin and then turn around and he just takes it right back and scores. So you do have those things. As far as attack goes, you're right. She is up there. I'm going through the guide right now. We got a few. Rop, Urga, Zev, those are a few that have higher attack, and I think that's it. So, fourth best, I believe. Real strong.
Okay, yeah.
I would roll with her. She also has 96 pass. That is great. You wouldn't have to block, you wouldn't have to take on too many guys for that. So that'd be great. Diem, I guess, is what it is. I don't know why I always pronounced it dime, but Diem, I guess, is probably how you pronounce it. She is about the same as Kulukin beginning. She's pretty. So if you want to pick her up in the beginning, she's pretty strong as well, but not so much at the end. She's not so great. So you might want to eventually replace her. Max, she only has 46 attacks, so that's not great. She does have 69 block though, so I mean that is quite high. There's not very many players that have higher than that. Also has 37 endurance though, so real low, and pass is also up with 89. So I mean, it's kind of goes back and forth there, but just that attack, I can't justify 46 attack. That's not very great.
And then, of course, the goalie, Nizarut. This is why I love playing the Kilika Beast early on, because beating up on Nizarut is one of the funniest things. I'm sorry.
He's bad. He is pretty bad.
He sucks at early levels. I think he starts, to be honest, I think he's on the same level as Keepa at early levels, where he starts with like 7 catch or something like that. So he's terrible. And weirdly enough, again, just like the rest of the Kilika Beast, he ends up with one of the highest catches. I was about to say the second highest catch at 60. And we know
third highest.
Yeah, third highest. I mean, pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's solid. Just again, it takes a lot to develop, and the problem with these players that are late bloomers is they need experience. So if they suck really bad, what are you gonna do? You gotta essentially sub them in and just pass with them nonstop is how you're gonna have to level them out, because as a goalkeeper, we already know goalies don't generally get leveled up anyways. Interesting thing about Nezrut though, he actually turns into a great defender. It's very strange. He will end up with 51 attacks, so more than Diem, in 62 block. Like it's kind of like okay, he's a goalie, and he actually has 50 shoot, which that's not great, but it's like okay. And pass is 45, endurance is 56. It's almost like they're like, let's give him 60 catch, and let's just throw all the other stats around there too. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Honestly, it's like what they did with Keepa. Was anybody ever really going to use their goalies as anything other than the goalie?
Yeah,
but it's. I don't know.
And I mean, the only thing I can think for that is like, so to level him up, you'd put him in defender, and he'd actually be able to compete there. But this doesn't happen until like the last 30 levels, So it's and at that point, his catch is growing, so you'd probably want to just keep him as a goalkeeper. Strange. All right, well, we do have some other free agents here. Not too many more here. We got Kayuri, probably another solid center/defender. Again, depending on how you want to use these players. Early on, not very good at attack, so you might want to have it at a center. But in the end, dude, she ends at 66 attacks. So I mean, that's really high.
Yeah, I actually think she's. I mean, honestly, when I was looking at again the ultimate team thing, I think she's probably one of the strongest, like the best well-rounded center in the game.
Yeah,
because 90 pass, she can shoot too. That's the other cool thing. 56 shoot is not bad, especially if you give her I don't know what ability she can get, but a lot of them can at least get some sort of level 3 shot move, like wither shot.
66 attack, like I said, 51 block, so very solid defender. 69 endurance, I mean, it's not fantastic, but that's not bad, I mean, I think anything over 60 is probably solid, especially for centers or defenders. Really good player. She also has, 9,999 HP again, so we'll do a shout out for that. And the next one, I like my little note because I was thinking about it. His dude's name's Tats, but if you look at his picture, he only has one tattoo on his shoulder, so he should change his name to Tat, right? Singular, buddy, all right? Well, maybe somewhere down under that you can't see, but he's kind of about the same as Kayuri, actually. He's a pretty solid center. I wouldn't really put him in defender because he'll end up with 47 attack, 57 block. Not the best, but as far as a center go, he's an okay choice if you just like him. There are better ones. His endurance is higher with 82, but, the other great thing about him is he's got some speed, man. It starts at 65 and ends at 71.
Tats was one of my favorite players back in the day, dude. I always
You got
I always
Tats.
recruited him. He's a really good center though. I think he was always the one I'd get for to replace Letty.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's
with
a
these
really
two,
good
Kyrie
center.
and Tats, they generally start about on par and grow that way, right? So they're not like late bloomers. They're pretty good players throughout.
And then if you go even further back, so I think Tats so Kyuri and Tats are found. Tats is definitely in Killa Kaport.
Yep, Kyrie's on
Kyuri's
the
found
winnow.
on the SS Winnow, right? So that's one of the boats. I can't remember which one it is, but and then Volucha is actually at Besaid, but she's actually worth the trip because she's a really, really good forward.
She is. Her outfit doesn't leave very much to the imagination. Let's just say that. Why she's playing
Yes, yeah.
blitzball in that is something else. But hey, you know what? Fashion on Besaid
Amazing
is
she can, yeah.
just much more open, we'll say. But no, she's a great forward. I usually always got her kind of you're saying like my all-star team. I generally always would get Volucha. At
Mhm.
max, she does end up with 81 endurance, so that's pretty high up there. Attack's about like Titus status. It's 23, so I mean she's kind of a purist. Low pass as well, low block, but 91 shoot. So once again, she is definitely gonna hit max. The interesting and probably the most, I don't know, attractive part about her early levels is that her block is actually really high. It ends at 33, so I mean it doesn't end well, but from levels like 10 through 20, or I mean, excuse me, like through level 30, her block starts at 10 and goes up to 20. I mean that's pretty huge for a forward, and so at that point it doesn't really grow anymore, but that's a really nice addition.
Yeah, I think Volucha, honestly, like when I played against teams that pick her up as a free agent, her endurance is kind of annoying. I think it's pretty high at early levels. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure on that. I know it ends at 81, but and she starts with some abilities. I think, to be honest with you, that seems to be like the biggest benefit that you
Yeah.
get with free agents is that with the Aurochs, you've literally got to take them from ground zero. With a lot of these free agents, they at least come with something,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
something good.
sometimes rank 3 ones right off the bat, and
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly.
that's the thing. Obviously, we won't go into that. We've already spent about 20 minutes here for you guys talking about this ball boat. We do have one more player though. It is Mep. He's at the Killican Temple. He's not very good, but let me tell you,
No.
man, his block level is the highest starting value, and it's at 19. I mean, gosh,
No.
dude, level like you're not gonna be
I
able to do
know.
anything against this guy.
I gotta say, man, when a team picks up Mep, I'm just laughing. He's so bad to play. Yeah, I don't. I'm not really sure what Mep is actually really good at because the thing that he sucks worst at is his endurance is so bad. I never seem to have a hard time getting the
Yeah,
ball from him. Honestly, that seems to be his major thing. Of course, we talked about the AI. Typically, the AI does really dumb things anyways, where they'll have like four stacked against it. They'll try to break against all of them.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But I don't know. I've never recruited him. I can honestly say I've
I
never
haven't either.
recruited Mep.
And in looking at his stats, I would only say at max level he's terrible. I mean, I don't know what
I
you would
don't know
use him
what.
for. 46
Yeah,
endurance,
like what
45
position.
attack. His block, while it does start at 19, guys, it actually grows to 24 by level 50, so it doesn't grow at all.
Wow,
And then it actually goes back down to 19. So it begins with
brutal
19,
joke.
ends with 19. He has 56
Yeah,
shoot, which, that is enough. But again, the
pretty
endurance is
good.
going to hinder him from doing anything. But I will say, and it is low. So his endurance is always really low. But he's actually not a bad defender. So probably through
Yeah,
levels like maybe 40-ish or so, that block, even though it doesn't grow, that's still pretty good. And
yeah.
interesting
His
enough, by 40, dude, he has 36 shoot, which is like
yeah,
it's up there with the best. So but again, I
yeah.
mean,
I
no
think
endurance, you're not gonna be able to do anything.
yeah, I think he'd actually make a decent center if you play him right.
Yeah.
He's got good enough pass, like you said, a good shooting center.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely seen the AI. The AI with him likes to shoot a lot. It's like, okay, they'll be shooting. He'll be like two guys there to block, but they'll still shoot.
Well, all right. So that is all the extra players that you can get up to this point. Anything else is just going to be moving forward. So we'll hit it. I know that we kind of just bombarded you all these last two episodes with the Guado and all this, but at this point in Guado Salami, you got to go through the Thunder Plains, and you're there, and Rika's like, "Oh no, we're here," and it's like, "Yes, it is." And Rika's not happy. She's afraid of lightning. Apparently, she's like, "Can't we just go back?" Orin is just like cold as ice here, saying, "Nice knowing you. It's like, dude, he was
Yeah, I
ready
love
just
that
to
one.
drop her. It's like, look, I don't care, man. We're moving forward. If you want to stay, see ya.
Oh man, he's got some really great lines coming up here for sure. But yeah, this is a really interesting part in the game because this particular area gives you like a little tutorial. It's called the Gandalf Lightning Plains, I believe. Wasn't that a high summoner? High summoner
Oh,
Gandalf? Something
we'll
like
get to Gandalf here.
Yeah, it's like a little mini game. So as you're passing through the Thunder Plains, you can get hit by lightning,
Yes.
and if that happens, you'll see like a flash of white on the screen, and you're supposed to press X at that time to be able to evade it. I don't know. For me personally, I don't know about you, man, but I just don't bother trying to evade the
I
lightning
don't either.
strikes.
It's fast. I mean, the screen
Yeah.
flashes, but let me tell you guys, you get hit by one, it's game over. You got struck by lightning. It's lightning. Very few people live through. No, it's all right. You'll be fine. There's some fun logic for you. Also, let's talk about this real quick. So, between Moonflow, which is a nice, beautiful area, we in Macalania, which we'll get to here in a little bit. There's just this strange biome that has infinite thunderstorms. What, like, how is this possible? Like, what in the world is going on here?
It's like the eye of the well, not the eye of the storm, but like you're in the storm wall basically
Yeah,
constantly. It's almost like Burmecia, right? Like Final Fantasy IX, the
yeah.
eternal rain. It's the eternal
It's the
thunderstorms, I
eternal
guess you could
thunderstorms, and they built lightning
say.
towers there. It's like, you guys only built 5. Why didn't you build more? But anyways, it's pretty funny. Through all this, I love the music here, man. It's like so cheery. It's like, this is like a very dangerous place, so we just have like just some nice cheery music, but it is a very good track. I like it.
Yeah, it's got like the piano and
Yeah.
everything. It always kind of reminds me, it's actually a good song because it sort of sounds like the progress that you're making in the game, right? You're at that point where like you're getting pretty deep into the game now. You'll be sitting there like working on the sphere grid, listening to the music.
Yeah. It's a nice break from the lightning. It is. All right, we are gonna run through the enemies because I know we just gave you a bunch of blitzball lists, so now we're getting an enemy list. But some interesting notes in the battles. And this happens at different points in the game, anyways. Like, there'll be some characters that'll have dialogue that'll just kind of be based on what's going on. But Yuna here, she'll like do a heavy sigh, and yeah. So apparently, there's different things. Lulu, for instance, will be like, focus, and it's like, yeah, come on, Yuna, you're in battle, man. You can't be sitting there just heavy sighing, daydreaming over your
Yeah.
shining white knight that came and swept you away.
Yeah, I mean, and there are actually some really funny ones. I watched a couple of videos of like some of the dialogue back in the Moonflow. If you've got it happens because of who you have in your lineup when you go into battle. So
Yeah.
they say things when you change them out, when you switch them in battle, but also they have unique dialogue depending on like the front three that you have going into the battle. And for example, like back in the Moonflow, if you've got Yuna and Lulu, Yuna does like a Waka impression where she's like, lots of fiends around here, yeah?
Oh, really? What?
I'm serious. It's actually really funny. I had to look up a video to
Oh,
see it
that is
because I've never
hysterical.
experienced that.
Yeah. Well, because
And then Lulu's like, stop doing that, or don't do that, or something.
oh, that's hysterical. I
Hilarious.
mean, it's the timing, right? Like you said, you do have to have that kind
Yeah,
of mix of characters and stuff. That's
pretty
great though.
random. So, anyways, I mean, aside from that, basically we've got some of the steals. So we've got some really good steals here now that we got Riku in the game. I'll just kind of point them out right here before we go through the whole, all of the enemies and all that stuff. But basically, you can steal a lot of lightning marbles here, which are really good for lightning ward customization on your armors, things like that. You can
Yeah.
also teach your Aeons, basically Thunder, Null Shock, whatever you want to do with them. But you also have some really cool ones, like you can get Luna Curtains from the larva, you can get light curtains from the Iron Giant, and then you can even get chocobo feathers from the Quacktars, which we'll talk
Yes.
about in a little bit here.
Kind of going through, you got a rouge, a rogue.
It's like the Gandhi one.
Yeah. So you got Erouge is like an imp. Just pretty much the standard for everything here is everything's going to be weak to water. Imagine that. We're in Thunder Plains and they're all Thunder enemies. So pretty simple, not straightforward, really low health. Everything here for the most part is pretty easy, I'd say. The only thing that might actually be a little bit of a challenge, just depending on your party, is maybe the larvas. Also, it's like kind of like an elemental, I don't know, like Metapod, from
Yeah,
Pokemon. I mean,
it's
that's what it kind of looks like. I don't know what it is.
yeah, that's kind of what it is, I guess. Sort of like it's like a developmental stage of a butterfly or something, right?
Yeah,
When they're in the
so
cocoon
strange.
phase, it almost looks like that. I guess that's why it's called
Larva.
Larva.
Yeah. But I mean, it's weak to water as well. It has
Yeah.
a decent amount of health. I think it has like 1600, so you might not knock it out in one hit with Watera if you have it. And then the interesting thing with it is it'll actually cast Thundara on itself, which will heal, and then it also increases its magic power at the same time when it does that. So that might kind of just hinder the time it takes to kill it. It also sometimes counter physical attacks with Thundara as well. So
Yeah, and I mean that's the guy basically common steel lunar curtain ×1, rare steel ×2. Definitely get some of those. Basically what they do, you use them in battle to cast shell, or you can teach shell to your Aeons. You can
yeah,
even get like SOS shell, auto shell. If you're really crazy, and get a whole bunch of them. But these guys actually hit pretty hard, like gold elements. The next version of the elements that we've seen so far, these guys hit hard. They only use thunder, but it does like, to characters that have low magic defense like Titus, it hits for like 560, 600 damage.
wow.
So definitely you'll be using things like Null Shock around here is really useful.
Yes, that's an easy thing to just negate it.
Yeah.
We'll go over through some of the other ones. The Buer is just kind of another floating eye, also weak to water. It can cause confusion as usual. Not too much there. What is it? Kusariku? I mean, I don't even know what the heck that is. It's like what these
lizard
armored
thing.
lizards, man, just have the weirdest names that I just suck at pronouncing.
Yeah, I wonder where they get these from, honestly. I wonder if
Gotta
anybody
Google that or
listening
something,
knows
see what that is.
what it's based on. But yeah, I mean, again, like the lizard type, the armored drake type, the element, the flying imp enemy, they're all pretty standard, basically. Just this is what's weird about Final Fantasy X. As far as the battles, things will change. Like you kill the flying enemy, it's basically a one-hit kill with Waka. The Kusuriku is going to be a one-hit kill with Auron. You want to kill the lizard here is called a Melusine, however you pronounce that, I don't know. But
Melusine,
anyways,
something, yeah.
annoying if they ambush you and he gets a hit and petrifies one of your characters. I don't know what the percentage is, but it happens. So
Yeah, it's
maybe
it's
they'll get
decent.
better.
It's quite decent. So I mean, having that rain with stoneproof on Yuna is kind of helpful here. I mean, you don't really have anything to fear about it, but you have the Iron Giant, which is actually only on the north side. So we'll get there in a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, sometimes you can get battles with two of them too. So sometimes it might give you a scare. I mean, it attacks decently. Apparently, it only targets the lowest health character. So I didn't know that, but I looked it up, and I guess that's who they target. So that's kind of interesting because, well, you don't want the lowest health character
That's
always getting hit.
Yeah, so he's typically going to be going after Lulu, Riku, or Yuna if they're in the
Yeah.
field. This guy, again, he hits really hard. It's really annoying. He does quite a bit of damage, so you just basically want to use Armor Break on him. You want to use Dark Buster, or not Dark Buster, Dark Attack
Dark attack, yeah.
at this point.
Yeah,
Things
and
like that, and then just level 2 magic.
he's got Reaper as an ability, so it hits everyone. So, it's just kind of stuff like that. And then the last one we'll talk about, kind of a asterisk here, is the Cactar. So, interesting enough, we'll get to some stones, right? So we'll get to this in a bit, and they won't turn up until you start doing this. But once you do this, they'll start showing up in battles. Magic does nothing. And if you're familiar with the series, you always know that Quacktars are, they're fast, they like to run away, they use Thousand Needles, so all that stuff still applies. And then usually they always give like really great AP or XP or, whatever it is. So same with here, magic does nothing though. So even if you use tier 2 magics, they do like 26 or something, right? And they're armored,
Yeah.
so you really got to make sure that you kind of get that right. But here's the thing, they give a lot of experience. They give really good drops. I got a conductor rod that had initiative on it, so I have
Yeah,
that on
me
Yuna
too.
right now. So
Yep.
that's really cool. You can also steal chocobo feathers, as Alex said, which, what is that? That's everything with haste, right, on the armors?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice to get a couple of those because it gives Riku the ability to cast haste, basically. So if you use one of those with the use command, it's just a haste spell. If you're really crazy, and I think you get 80 of them, or actually, no, not even. Sorry, that's something totally different. But you can teach haste to Aeons with this. So you have to get quite a few, though. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
they're kind of a hard encounter to come by once you pray at one of those statues. I'm not really sure if there's like a boundary. I haven't figured this out yet as far as the encounters. It kind of seems like it just unlocks
Yep.
it as an
As
encounter
an
in the
encounter.
entire place.
And
So
they're not very frequent. I mean, it's kind of a rare encounter, and then it's
yeah.
even rarer to get an ability to chance to kill them because they often flee on their first turns. So,
Yeah, honestly, I always just use overdrives with this. Like,
yep,
use slice and dice, use attack reels if you have it, use,
use some Aeon
one of
overdrives.
Aur's.
Yeah, those are the enemies though. So now if we're just kind of walking through, you'll go on forward. There's the stage right there, chest right next to it, 2 Phoenix Downs, cool. There's another chest like right beyond it that has high potion times 2, cool. It's like, all right. If you actually kind
Yeah,
of stay
pretty
on this
mad.
left side though, and you go on down, there's 2 things here. One, we'll just do the chest first. There's a chest behind the stone, and it has 5,000 gil in it. And right now, we'll go ahead and we'll go over these stones. So, this would be the first one you would encounter, and it's just like a stone and has a little picture of a cactar, and you're like, okay, cool. And if it's glowing, you want to go ahead and hit, what is it? It'd be square on PlayStation. It'd be, it's whatever. It's not the main action button. It's different, right? And so you want to hit that. Titus will pray, and then at that point it kind of just does something, and the thing vanquishes, like disappears, and that's 1, right? So you need 3, and at that point, once you do the first one, now you'll start to get into battles with 1 cactar. As soon as you get 2, you'll get battles with 2, and it goes like that. So once you get all 3 stones, you'll then be able to counter 3 cactars in a battle. So that's kind of how that goes. Also, why you'd want to do this is once you get all 3, there's a little spirit that appears on the south side. And you're like, oh, a little cactar spirit. And we're kind of doing this backwards, right? We're giving you the end result, and then we'll kind of explain a little bit as we go. What this does is on the south side, there is a broken down tower on the right side of the screen. You'll do the kind of same button to do the whole pray thing, and Lightning's like, "Blame on the thunder!" Bam! He calls down like a thunderbolt on this thing. And then there's a chest, man, and you're like, "Oh, heck yeah!"
Yeah, you can't even open it, right?
It won't open, it says. And you're like, what? Okay.
This is kind of something we'll get into a lot later, so we won't mention it now. But it's end game stuff. Let's just leave it at
Yes.
that. But over here is probably one of the most useful chests in this area, though. You've got a chest over there with a water ball. Pretty sweet. It's water strike and sensor, I believe, for Waka. So if you equip that on him, you're pretty much going to be getting overkills on the air
Yep.
rouges and all that kind of stuff.
Probably Liz. Yeah. Really handy here. And same on the note, Brotherhood is also a fantastic weapon for Titus to have here, because
Yep.
same thing. Although it's kind of interesting because those fast lizards are weak to ice, not water. So
Yeah.
if you just continue on, though, down the path, you'll see Shalinda. I don't believe you have to talk to her, but
No.
you should in this case, because if you talk to her, it's interesting. She'll be like, hey, I heard the news. Dude, what? Titus, he's like, she's like, I heard the news about it. He's like, no, that's not happening. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's like, where'd you hear that? Apparently Guado are going telling everyone that the wedding is on, even though Yuna has not decided yet, man. That's insane. So what the heck? Talk about pressure. They're just going out into all the spirit, just telling everyone, yeah, Yuna's marrying Maester Seymour. Well, here's the thing, though. Titus isn't having it. He's like, no way, man. That's not happening. She's like, are you serious? And you have 2 options. You can be like, no kidding. Why would you select that?
Yeah.
You got to say, yep, no wedding. And she's like, oh. She's just so
Yeah.
let down. You're like, oh, yes.
Oh, Shalinda, seriously. Like, ever since Meehan, she just won't go away. But anyway, so yeah, you just keep going through, stick close to the towers to try and avoid the lightning, things like that. Just try to survive the insanely high encounter rate around here. It's just something else that we talked about before, where
It's going to be grueling.
it's annoying at this point. So
You're going to be in a lot of battles.
yeah, so use that playing on Steam, use that no encounters
Well,
thing.
and I mean, that's true, man, because this is a point that it becomes pretty easy to get even more overpowered if you're not already. Because the problem is, it almost kind of bounces off each other, right? You get into a lot of these battles, so you get leveled up, then you start overkilling them, and then you start getting, even more levels and experience because you're overkilling everything. So, yeah, if you want to make it maybe a little challenging, I'd probably just walk through this whole area with encounters off, in my opinion, because it's just really
true.
easy to just...
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I didn't. I went through it on mine, and I was overkilling from point 1. And, dude, I mean, I think I got probably like 10, 11 levels out of this. It was pretty insane.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the point. They're given like 1,000 experience per
Yeah,
battle at this point. It's getting starting to get pretty crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, you keep going and you kind of get to the end, and it turns into this cutscene, right, where lightning strikes and Walker's just, oh, that
Whoa.
was a boom, that was a close one. That was a close one, eh? Or whatever.
Yeah,
I can't do a
and
Walker, but
he's just having fun with it, right? He's enjoying it, laughing it. Here comes Killjoy Lulu. Stop kidding around.
stop kidding around.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He's-
And then basically Riku turns into like a bug or something here where
Dude.
she's like crouching down. She's like, heh, 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 heh.
Yeah, she's struggling. So, she can't deal with the lightning. And Idol, she's on mental breakdown. You're
Yeah,
giving me
she's
the
having a full on
creeps.
meltdown. I always love when Titus says that. Heh, 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 you're giving me the creeps.
So we're essentially kind of near what turns out to be a travel agency, right? And so Riku's like, "Hey, can we just stop?" And Auron's like, hey, this never stops, right? The storm's gonna always be going." But she's like, "Hey, at least can we just stop for a little bit at least? I mean, heck, there is a travel agency here, so clearly people do it." The screen goes to where you're outside of it. Riku's at the door. You can walk with the game, if you want, but everyone is just walking away, and she keeps saying things like, "Hey, you're gonna really leave me here?" And she's like, "Your moms would be ashamed of you." And it's like, dude, they could care less if Riku is in this. Like, what's the point of making her a guardian, man? Like, they're just like ready to ditch her at any turn.
And I love Oren's line at the end there is, fine, we rest. She's worse than the storm.
Yeah, worse than the store. It's like, gosh, she'll never
Voice
shut up.
actor does such a great job on that. It's so funny.
Yeah. You're inside here. You can walk around, talk to people and stuff. And don't talk to Kamari. He is just like, oh my gosh, dude, what the heck is wrong with
Whoa,
him right
wait.
there? I mean, I guess he must have smelled something funky because he's like, go away. And then you talk to him again. He's like, I told you to go away, pretty much. And you're like, all right, dude, geez, fine. I'm sorry. We're just comrades here. No big deal. I'm just gonna go away. But
Chill, dude.
yeah, take a chill pill. But you could talk to some people. Waka's got some pretty funny things. They all have some pretty interesting things to say. And there's actually a book that kind of looks like a primer on the counter. It's not. And this will actually kind of give you a little insight on the Cactar stones. And I read it this time. I don't think I ever have. First off, dude's name is Lord Gandalf. Yes, Gandalf. He has a staff and he is fighting, Balrogs. Or no, he's not. But apparently he went around all around Spira. And he collected all the cactars and banished them to the Thunder Plains, apparently, is what he did. And then he sealed them in their stones so they would pay for their deeds. What the heck were these things doing, man? I mean,
Oh.
oh my god.
Oh, okay. So he casted break on them apparently. So you just got to use a soft. And
Yeah, just do that. Or you can just pray at the stones and release them.
that's interesting. I don't think I ever have either. And I know that this primer looking thing, once you start dodging, I think once you've dodged at least one or something like that, it gives you information based on, it tells you how many consecutive lightning bolts you've dodged.
Okay.
Or the other funny thing, we're talking about how like you should be dead if you get hit by lightning, right?
Yes.
But apparently, so you actually get items if you get hit by a certain number of lightning strikes. So
Yes.
that's another thing. You can read that as well.
Pity
It kind of
points.
has on that. Yeah, exactly. They're kind of pity prizes, I believe. You get like an ether, just
I think it's an
you
ether and
have
then
to
an
get hit by a
elixir, but
lot.
it's like 60 in a row or something for that. I
Yeah,
mean,
you got
that's
to get
just
hit
insane.
by a lot.
If you talk to Riku, that's how you kind of progress this area. Rin comes out. You're like, oh, what's up, man? And a little interesting thing here is he actually looks at Riku and he's like, oh, and she's like, shh,
Doesn't
and
say
so.
anything.
So,
Yeah.
that's probably for the best because Waka is right there. So, that's it. The other thing that's kind of cool here is he also recognizes Auron. And, well, actually, I think I'm jumping the gun. I think you're able to walk around right now. You talk to him. He'll give you an Albed Primer, 14. And then at that point,
Yeah,
he'll be like, excuse me, is that Sir Auron? And you could say, like, no or yes, but definitely say yes.
You have to say he asks you how it's going, and you've got to say it's going good to get it. Otherwise,
Oh,
you can
okay.
actually miss this one, which would really
Ah.
suck. But then you become an Albed's Sabigan.
Cabagan? Cabagan?
Sabigan.
Cabaygan.
I don't know
Cabagan.
what these words are. Anyways, you get another
Yes.
level up if you're getting all of these Albed primers up to this point.
Yes.
But yeah, you also get some really interesting information, right? So after, like what you said, is he asks that Auron, he goes over, Sir Auron.
He's like, "Oh, hello, Rin," or something like that. But
Yeah.
what you get out of it is apparently Rin after Lord Braska, his guardians, they defeated Sin. Auron had a nasty wound from it or something, and Rin apparently like saved his life. He found him, took him back. But well, I don't know. Because he's kind of like, I was surprised to see you gone the next day. No ordinary man would have been able to walk with a wound like that. Yeah, and Auron's like, I'd prefer to drop this, Rin. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, did he live through the night? I don't know. I think there's enough pieces to put together at this point to think that Auron's dead, man. He's not alive.
It's kind of interesting how the games drop these hints, right? You've got Titus smelling him.
Yes.
You got this happening.
You got the
Conclusive
weakness at the
evidence.
far plane.
Exactly. Other than that, where is Yuna is the big question, right?
Oh yes. Well, she was tired. She went to one of the rooms, which wasn't like her. It's like, okay. You kind of get a dark moment in Titus's past here. He doesn't like to talk about it because this was the day that he was a peeper. He peeped in. I mean, he's going, I don't know. So you got to go down the hallway, and he's like walking by, and he kind of hears something. So I get that he hears a noise because it doesn't sound like Yuna. So it kind of be like, who's in there? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I can give that. But then he starts like looking through the keyhole or something. Like, dude, she could be naked and getting dressed or something, and you're just so. Let's not go there, pal. You don't do this. And, well, here you go. He falls in, does a little commando roll, and is like, oh, hey, how's it going? And she's like, ah.
Yeah, and I love how he's like, I heard some talking, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like, I got nothing. This was a big whoopsie.
Yeah, he was trying to come with it. He's just, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come in like that.
Yes, and you can even see it, the little sphere. So if you remember the sphere that Jiskel dropped at the far plane, she was watching it because you could tell that was kind of him, and Titus was even like, was that Jiskel? And she's like, yes, it was his will. It says, take care of my son. I don't know, she's upset. She runs out. She did just get barged in on, by the way. And, well, I guess Walker heard all that. Dude, this dude sneaks in so silently. He's like, they call him Whisper when they need assassinations, because that's all you hear.
I love the fact that he sort of comes out of in the doorway. He sort of creeps in the doorway with his arms crossed.
Yes, he's like, oh boy, what are you doing, pal? Gets Titus in a headlock, obviously, gives him some noogies or something. He's like, yeah, hold your chocobos, it's hysterical.
Oh, that's my favorite part. It's like, Yuna was acting funny, and yeah, she'll tell us when she's ready, so hold your chocobos till then.
Yeah? Yeah. So they essentially like rest for the night. It does the whole kind of, sleeping music. Same thing, you can walk around, talk to people again. If you talk to Waka, it's pretty funny. Because essentially what it is, everyone's ready to go. We're just waiting on Riku. She's trying to work up the nerve, and Waka's like, hey, we should give Riku a kick in the butt to get him moving, yeah? And stuff. It's like...
You also get some interesting information from when you talk to Lulu. I can't remember exactly when it is. I think it's at this point they talk about why Riku is afraid of lightning.
Yes.
And apparently it was because her brother used a lightning spell on her or something like that. And it's like Lulu basically says you should learn some spells. It's actually good advice.
Yeah. She's
for
like,
later on in the game, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Not right now though, but yeah, and so you'll do that. You talk to, I believe you talk to Riku, and everyone leaves. Or Auron is like, see you later, essentially. And Riku finally gets angry enough from that she's like, I'm not scared anymore. She runs outside. You go outside, dude. What is this? I don't understand this part. Maybe I'm not remembering. So maybe there's something coming up. It's been a very long time since I've done a full story playthrough. There's some dude just runs up and takes a picture and then runs off. Who does that? I mean, what in the world?
It's the paparazzi, man.
Yeah.
It's the paparazzi. Yeah, it is weird. And actually, if you're really paying attention, Because I mean, I know I didn't notice this guy too much in my first playthrough, my first several playthroughs probably, but this is somebody that you've seen like kind of throughout the journey at different points. Like I know you've seen him on SS Winnow
Okay.
or the Leaky, one of those ships. Anyways, so yeah, this dude's like stalking us or something.
Stalker, man. I mean, gosh, what in the world? And he takes his picture. It's like, gosh.
He dropped something useful, right?
I guess that's what, like, he just, it fell out of his pocket, no big deal. He just had a shield in his
Shield.
pocket, that's easy, that fits there. But there is
Yeah.
a yellow shield on the ground. Really, I mean, if you're struggling for whatever reason, I mean, it's lightning proof for
Awesome.
Titus. So I mean, that is
Lightning.
awesome.
Yeah, that is really, really good. So combined with if you got those 8 lightning marbles back at Guadalsalon, you've got 2 lightning proof characters now. So basically, you should not be getting any game overs with that armor.
No. Yeah, and so if you're just kind of doing like a lower level run or something that's a little more challenging, I bet you that is going to come in handy. So at this point, you can move forward. And so if you go to the north side, so now we're up here. Again, this is where you'll start to encounter iron giants. There's a stone just up ahead on the kind of left side. That would be your third one. At this point, you could backtrack to, if you want, you could backtrack to go ahead and unlock that chest, so at least it's there. Because there's like kind of 2 paths split. So the one that leads to the agency, and then there's one that's kind of to the right. If you do backtrack, going back down towards the south side, there's an X potion and chest, so you just grab that either way. And at this point, I mean, you pretty much just go forward, battle, do whatever, and eventually you'll get a little bit more story here, where Yuna wants to stop in the middle of the road, where lightning's all around us, to go ahead and just chat. She's like, no, it has to happen right now. Auron's like, all right, man, let's at least go over there. How about that? Is that okay?
And this is also the point, by the way, the north side, there's a save sphere. It's a really, really good spot to grind if you want to. You only get the encounters with the Iron Giant at this part, and so you can get a whole bunch of light curtains, things like that. These are the really big, like, there's an encounter, I think it's like 2 of the fuels plus an Iron Giant. You get like 1,800 experience from that.
Nice.
So, yeah, just an FYI, this is the place. But yeah, I mean, great timing, right, on Yuna wanting to talk about it. And basically, you can tell the game's kind of foreshadowing that something not great is going to happen, right? And
Yes.
so, yeah, she basically just says that she has actually decided to marry, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, for Spira, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, cool. Are really that many people gonna have so much more happy? We already talked about this. It's like,
Yep.
it just doesn't make much sense. But she did decide to marry. It kind of goes through different characters and different things. Waka's like, do you actually have to marry him? Can't you just talk to him? And she's like, no, I don't know. So it seems that mostly everyone's cool with it. Auron is basically like, are you going to continue your pilgrimage? She's like, yep. Then he's like, then I don't care, and of course Titus is the only one that's like, and he's panicked. He's like, but I like her. But I like her. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. And
Yeah.
he's even like, at that moment, I felt that I didn't fit in. Why? Just because you don't agree with them over this decision?
I mean, it's interesting though, right? Like Yuna is she's sort of being a martyr here.
Yeah.
Like you get the sense she doesn't really like Seymour, but she's doing it just to make people happy.
Yeah. Just something she doesn't want to do just to do it, and then she's gonna just continue on anyways. So yeah. I mean, it's kind of a strange thing, but everyone's mostly cool with it. Uni, and which there's something we could do is what you start hearing Uni from Riku now. So just be prepared for that.
Gonna be nonstop.
And that's that. So they move on. She essentially just says, though, that she wants to go talk to him. She maybe still hasn't fully decided. She wants to go talk to him first, and so we're off to Makalania Temple I. At this point, that's where you have to kind of head. So there's an ether behind the shelter. It's in a chest. And then kind of you just head towards the right side of the screen. This is the last treasure here. It just has 2,000 more gills. So, just some items as usual. And at this point, there's nothing else. So unless you just want to do battles, do steals, backtrack, do whatever, you just got to go forward. And so heading on into Makalania Woods. And you can just tell by Riku's body language and everything. She's like, oh, it's over, And well, I mean,
she's doing her like cold. It's kind of funny her animation when she's scared. It kind of looks like she's cold or whatever. So she's walking like that, and then she realizes she's out of the thunder.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm good. What a nice change of pace, man. I mean, this area looks really, really nice, peaceful, and calm. It's pretty cool. Everyone moves forward except for Auron. he's stopped in the road, and you can be like, all right, here we go. You can move at this point, but something's coming because Auron stopped. He basically just asks if Titus' concern is just about speculation. She's marrying him to negotiate. They're like, clearly she wants to negotiate. And Titus is like, yeah. Negotiate what? I mean, that's the thing. He's like, it kind of seems like there was a hidden meaning there. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. We'll get to the rest of my comments here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, she clearly, he's like, why is she marrying him? She's like, basically, she wants something, and she's being really shady about it.
Yeah, and they kind of talk about that too, where it's like she's really headstrong. She doesn't want to ask for help.
She's hiding something.
Wants to do it. Yeah, she just wants to do it herself. She doesn't want people to get involved, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, and it's pretty interesting because it's like, as far as the negotiation, like you said, it's like, well, she's strong, but Seymour's the better negotiator.
Yeah, meaning whatever she's up to, she is outmatched and she isn't going to do it, but she's also not talking about it. So you get a little bit more into that. There clearly is more here than simply just going to, hey, and she's just going to go say, yes, I want to marry you. And so either way, Auron's like, stay close, like we just got to basically watch her.
Yeah.
You'll get one last scene here before you're able to just keep going. Riku. Slowpokes! Who are you want to talk, all right? You literally made us sleep a night just to wait for you to get over a storm that would never stop.
Yeah, she's on a whole nother level right now just because she's not having to be scared of lightning anymore, so.
It was a little relieving to know that Yuna didn't actually love him. I mean, it was like I don't know, Titus essentially, he reflects, it's like that inner dialogue, and it's basically, he's more at ease knowing that Yuna's doing it without actually loving. It's like, oh, okay, whew. I was worried there. I thought that she actually loved him. I'll never actually be able to marry her, though, because she'll be married to someone else, but I'm more okay with it knowing she doesn't love him. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, whatever happened to Walker's advice, right? Don't fall in love with it.
She's cute, yeah. At that point, that's about it. There's not much else. You can continue on, but we aren't. We're going to go ahead, save it right there. There's that save sphere, and we're going to leave Macalania Woods to the next episode. Which, actually, on that note, the next episode will be
Blitzball.
Another Blitzball, I believe. I'm starting to get a little confused in here because we're recording these like a month or two in advance, and we don't know what we're actually doing.
I think so. I think we've done 3 story at this point, so.
Yep. And so that is it. All right. Well, we'd like to thank you all for hanging out, listening to this episode. You can go to our website, FinalStop.FinalFantasyTalks.com. We got our blog. By now, hopefully we do have a Blitzball stuff set up. So, that will be pretty awesome. Hopefully you guys are checking that out. Just, I don't know. If you like it as much as we do, you'll enjoy it. You can also check out our Instagram, same handle. We just post some of the media from just all the stuff we talk about.
Yeah, and also gonna upload a nifty little lightning dodging spot that I found out here in the Lightning Plains on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. I don't know. I've never seen anybody talk about this spot. I've seen other spots that have predictable lightning patterns and things like that. So we'll be posting that pretty soon.
Yes, and we'll of course talk more about that towards endgame. But hey, we're here, and you could do it right now if you really wanted to. So we'll go ahead and post that spot for you and hook you guys all up. All right, I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.